Good morning, everyone. KJ here. I'm a little late. I stayed up a little late last night. It's Friday, and as I look out my front window, it has rained outside. It looks overcast. Just getting ready to have another beautiful day. And yesterday was a whopper of a day for many people. I hope many of y'all enjoyed Professor KJ's little rendition there. Someone had brought up in the comments, it was, I forgot who it was, but you know who you are, said something like, it's so funny when you put it on faster. And I was like, what are they talking about? So I did it, and I just laughed my ass off because the first original one that I did was, I was trying to be like a professor, kind of slow and meticulous and all that. And when you put it on that fast speed, oh my gosh. Y'all, I can't get the accents down. Someone pointed it out again that KJ's got too much of a southern drawl. And I also think I sounded somewhat like Aaron Patterson's accent that I always do. Aaron Patterson there, the mushroom poisoning woman there. I couldn't figure out how I was going to do it. I guess I probably could have went a different way, but that's just one area of theatrics that I'm not going to be able to get down in terms of, having a character and really developing an accent or a different voice. I mean, for God's sake, y'all, I tried to be a man, that nasty ass asshole Chad Daybell the other day. I love to do the theatrics. I love to do the skits, but I just, it's so cheesy and corny. You gotta laugh, right? And by the way, y'all, everybody loved the superstar Mr. Wayne, so that touched my heart. I told Wayne, I said, honey, I said, they're saying that you were so good more than they were saying I was so good. And he's like, well, I was just having fun. And I'm like, well, honey, I said, I think you're ready for Hollywood because some of the people on there thought your shit was awesome, right? Good morning, Dee Dee Sunshine. Good morning, Vicky McNutt. Madam August Butterfly, good morning. Janelle Murphy. NF Mom, Susan Honecker, Carrie Ann, Vicky, Tina Reddington. Good morning, Tina. Maria P., April Gann, Teresa, Daughter of Scotland. Thank you so much, Daughter of Scotland, for posting that skit. That was very sweet of you. Bryn Marshall. Y'all, yesterday was a blockbuster. And I think, I'm getting a little ahead of myself. I think I just got so excited for the victims' family members, especially Cresha. And then I posted yesterday about one of Kay Woodcock's tweets where she says the wheels of justice, they turn. And she seems so thrilled and so happy. And that's all I think about when I think about these things that happen with the hussy getting extradited and all that. I just think, how are they feeling? How are they feeling? Are they getting relief from all this? Because, y'all, they got to be missing Charles. They've got to be missing him. Birthdays, anniversaries, Thanksgiving just left us. Christmas is coming up. And to think about Charles Vallow and everything that we've learned about him. When Wayne and I went to Louisiana and spent time with Cresha and her family, they told us things about Charles. And it's almost like we all knew him and how wonderful of a man he is. And it's just a damn shame, really. I know y'all that have been here a long time. When y'all saw Cresha's live feed when Wayne and I were down there, when she put Charles Vallow's jacket on me and I didn't know she was going to do it, y'all, I nearly lost it. I nearly lost it. And just to know that they opened their family up for Wayne and I to spend time with them, I promise you, besides Cresha and I speaking, when we went over there for that crawfish bowl, I never once went into, hey, anything like that. It was always like, this is their family. They are having a crawfish bowl for us. And we're going to not bring up anything. If they want to bring it up, they can bring it up. And sure enough, Larry talked about the backyard where we were all sitting in, how JJ loved to play on the trees and run through the yard. And it was really hard because you're sitting there listening to something they're talking about that is so sad and hurtful, and you just don't know what to say back. And then, of course, in the midst of all this love, really, that their family showed Wayne and I, when they're speaking of this stuff, it just, this little spark of outrage for these people out here that did all this. Which brings me to, when Chad had his motion hearing, and Rob Wood stood up and said, we're not trying to change the theory. We still have our core theory that, we're not trying to change nothing. Our core theory is that Chad, Lori, Alex, and others, and that has stuck with me. How in the hell can a state prosecutor say there are others that helped murder these children and Tammy, and they can put that in a legal document, and they can say, and others? How would they be able to prove that? John Pryor brings it up in the motion hearing. We don't know the names of these people. Well, yes, legally speaking, they can put and or others in their legal documents and their indictments. This goes back to my opinion that the state of Idaho made a deal with the devil with David Warwick, Zulema, Melanie Gibb, Audrey Barterio, and obviously, whether they made a deal or not, Melanie Pulaski found her way out of testifying by saying she had seen some pretrial coverage. It was so easy for her. Why is it that it's okay to seek justice? Y'all, I'm not trying to put a wet blanket on this. It's great news that Lori's in Arizona and that Charles is going to see justice and that Chad is going to get justice too. He's going to see it. He's going to live it with Bubba. And Lori's they've already said it, regardless of what happens in Arizona, unless she got the death penalty. And I don't know that they would seek the death penalty on Lori. I think they've made themselves clear in their press conference that as soon as they're done with her, they're going to send her back to Idaho. Well, what about the others? Why is it that we see and have talked about this so much, y'all? If we can see, I'm just an old country girl from Tennessee. If I can see that others were involved, and I do believe Audrey Barterio is more guilty than probably all of them combined. I think she had I don't know this to be sure, y'all. It's just a feeling that when her, Lori, and Melanie P. were in Hawaii, I think Audrey already had helped Lori through all this. Audrey Barterio. I just believe this. You think Melanie Pulaski was going to comfort her hussy aunt there? But they all knew that children were dead. It had to be Audrey Barterio. Melanie Pulaski was too busy having dreams on her honeymoon night about doing it in her own kids. I'm sure Audrey Barterio would have helped Melanie Pulaski through it. Susan Honecker says, perhaps the prosecutor will charge others later. Well, I'll tell you what, Susan. How would they do that, right? If they're going to use these people and say these people are credible, like they did in Lori's trial, and they're going to use these people in Chad's trial, how can they go from there to going back and arresting these people that they relied so heavily on and having a trial for them? Do you think these defense attorneys, that this is just for sake of argument, who would represent Zulema, David Warwick, Melanie P., Melanie Gibb, and all them, Audrey Bartario, do you think any of them would not be able to get in that hey, you're saying my client is guilty, but y'all had them in the last trial that helped convict these people, which leans into the argument that these people, of course, they're bullshit. I'm ignorant. I didn't know nothing about it. It's the same thing, y'all, as Ruby Frank's husband filing for divorce. This makes him look good. And it would have made Chad Daybell look good if he'd have done it. But through it all, now comes the time to put Chad on the chopping block, and John Pryor wants to blame Lori for everything. Where's the divorce papers? Where are they? What I am trying to say is although I'm very, very happy for Charles's family, I'm very happy that they're going to get the justice that Charles deserves, and Brandon Boudreaux and his family. It just doesn't seem complete to me, and I want it to be. I want to say this is what we got. This is a lot to celebrate. I just can't get out of my mind that as this went on with Lori's trial, and now, during all that time, these people, these others, I'm sure they were so caught up in I've got to testify and maybe wasn't thinking about it. But now that Chad's trial's coming and they've got to do it all over again, do they not have any kind of conscience at all to think, I knew all along? I mean, who are the others? If people want to believe the state of Idaho's prosecuting team about what Chad and Lori did, and they've already got a conviction with Lori, so the jury did believe everything the state of Idaho said, shouldn't it have crossed the juror's mind that made this decision to send Lori off for the rest of her life? Who are the others? Why don't they list out the others? Olive says they probably know they're all guilty, so we do, but it's finding charges to stick. Well, I mean, y'all, how much of Zulema's testimony, Melanie Gibbs' testimony, David Warwick's testimony, Audrey Bartario's testimony, left out a bunch of stuff? Y'all know it was proven that a lot of it was left out. The state narrowly focused on questions that they knew, because once they asked the question, the defense can ask in that narrow lane. The state put kid gloves on these people. We knew it. There was a lot of things that these people did not talk about. In fact, there were a lot of things that Melanie Gibbs said that she never brought up in Lori's trial that she said in Chad's preliminary hearing. Beach Lady says, I only hope that Melanie P gets jail time from her upcoming charge with Brandon. Well, that's another thing, Beach Lady. Nobody's heard anything else about Melanie P and her stupid computer tampering charge. Is that all they've got? Is that all they can do? Maybe they are putting this on hold because it will be so unduly prejudicial to put her through this little minor felony. Was it a felony, class 3 felony trial here because of what's going on in Arizona right now? Y'all, I said I was not going to cover the hussy in Arizona, and I'm not. The only reason I brought this up, and the only reason I even talked about it yesterday and posted on the community wall, is because of my heart for the family and knowing that this was big news. And I was trying to bring some laughter, as y'all know, but you know the difference between what we've been through in the last 4 years and what went on yesterday. I could have came on and we could have dissected every damn thing, and I didn't do it because I really don't want to cover Arizona. And it has nothing to do with not wanting to honor Charles Vallow. It's just, I kind of made a promise between the hussy and the chin there. And ultimately, y'all, the only person that anybody really needs to go in and be with during all this who can talk about all of this would be Cresha K. Easton of Difficult Research. I'm going to see the Chad Daybell trial through. There are some pre-trials, some arraignment things going on with Lori coming up. I'm going to be looking because I know the Rays are going to be there for Cresha. And, it's, what are we talking about here in terms of they're going to go down this road again about what went on with Lori, Alex, and the whole ordeal the day that Charles was murdered. He was ambushed. And, I'm curious if she does go to trial in Arizona. I don't know if she'll make a plea agreement, just going back to Pocatello Women's Prison. But if she goes to trial in Arizona, are they going to bring up this shit about others again? Are they going to, is it in the indictment? I haven't even looked at it. In the indictment on Lori. I'll have to look that up. Are they going to say others? Are they just going to say Lori, Alex? Are they going to include Chad? They better not include Chad because they didn't indict his ass in Arizona when they damn well should have done it. And y'all, I am incensed when I look at a press conference there, and they're saying, we do everything right. We do everything right. Well, that might be Maricopa County, but Chandler sure as hell didn't do it, did they? I don't know. I guess I'm a little pessimistic about the whole thing. Maria P., Lori looks haggard and old now. She has crazy eyes in her Arizona booking picture. Y'all, I know I put on a ski yesterday, but do it yourself. Look in the mirror. When you do this, and those, maybe you don't have the wrinkles like OKJ. When you do this, what do you usually do this for? And she doesn't smile. She doesn't frown. She is, y'all. She's saying, here I am. That's what she's saying, to me anyway. If anybody else sees something else, hey, I'm willing to listen. Boho Mays says, please, Chad, tell all the truth. Well, Boho Mays, I don't believe for 1 second that Chad Daybell's attorney strategy of Lori was she was the one that was barking orders. Let's say that was true. Say that was honestly true, that it was all Lori was the mastermind and all that. Does that mean that Chad is less guilty? No, we're talking about conspiracy to commit murder. And the state at least said something good in this when they brought this issue up at Chad's motion hearing. Wait a minute. Lori wasn't charged with actual first-degree murder like Chad was on his wife Tammy. I think John Pryor is missing the bus. The bus that he thinks he's going to throw Lori under. I don't care if Lori gets thrown under the bus. I hope she really understands that that's where it's going. Because ultimately, y'all, it's not going to kill her or hurt her if she was to think, you know what? My husband, Chad Daybell, is going to throw me under the bus. That's not going to hurt her. You know what she's going to think? She's going to go, you know what? Chad is going with the strategy that I was the mastermind of all this, that I barked the orders. Well, good for him, because I love him. I am his queen, and I'll do anything I can. He is the king of the 144,000. I gotta protect him any way that I can. So, you know, it's hard for me, and it has always been hard for me to get into the mindset of such evil. I don't think I've ever been able to do it. All I can do is throw out here what I think. It's hard to wrap your head around and see something. It's right there in front of you. It's evil, and not recognize it, because we're all sinners. We all fall short of the glory of God. Don't get me wrong. Hell, I do all kinds of things I shouldn't do. But the bottom line is it's hard to be able to even try. We've tried. Over the last 4 years, we've tried. At least I have. The lipid test for knowing if you did things right or wrong is if there are 2 dead children in the results. Well, there you go. There you go, y'all. Lori says she'll be the martyr for her king, says NF Mom. Well, didn't she kind of look at that? Go on the community wall after this live stream, or anytime if you want, and look at the 5 photos that I kind of enlarged off of the little video of her being brought into the jail there in Arizona and all that. If you notice, she's like this the whole time, like, I'm a martyr. I'm like Jesus being persecuted. Just look at her. That one thing when she walked in and they put her up on the wall to check her, because that's the procedure. They knew she was clean, but they have to do that. They knew she was clean when she got in the vehicle in Idaho to travel those 18 hours to Arizona. This woman can't use Charles Vallows points to get a freaking airplane ride where she's going. But she's up against that wall. And if you notice, while she's taking her shoes off, her back's turned to, she flips her hair. She flips that barrel roll. And you see her already, her body language is seductive. Y'all, it is. She's a hussy. And no telling what she talked about with those 4 officers all the way back. The presser said she was chitty chatty. Who the hell is chitty chatty when you've already been convicted of murdering your own children and conspiring to murder Tammy Daybell, and you are facing conspiracy to murder on a man that everybody loved? She had no reason other than one reason at all, and that was money. The icing on the cake was she was going to get rid of him. And this goes back again to Ruby Frank's husband, who is filed for divorce from Ruby. Well, I'm sure it makes him look a little bit better. There are people on both sides of it. Some people say that he is just covering his ass, that he was all in with Ruby and Jody. And then there's people who's like, he was just doing what the therapist told him to do and blah, blah, blah. Well, I can't stand the fact that I have to armchair quarterback this. But I just wish that, Charles would have given her anything in a divorce. He'd have given it to her all. But she wanted the big tamale. She didn't want a settlement. She didn't want child support for the care of JJ the rest of his life. She already was getting money from Joe Ryan. She's already added it up and told that stupid woman, Melanie Gibb, how much she's getting a month. And Melanie Gibb, I didn't know anything was going on. Give me a break. Carrie Ann says, I wish we could hear everything she was chatty about in that car ride to Arizona. Well, Carrie Ann, I don't know what all she could have said. The guy in the presser says, I don't know if she made statements that pertain to this indictment, whether she said anything. I don't think she would have. The woman is cunning, y'all. She probably sized up these guys. She probably looked them between the legs to see how big they were, too. No way that she didn't do that. And she probably chit-chatted about stuff. She drew them in because she's narcissistic, she's evil, she's diabolical, and she probably just talked about things that they brought up, and she expounded on it She probably talked about, oh, y'all got such a hard job. Tell me all about your adventures or whatever. Tell me, it must be so dangerous. Oh, it's so dangerous. And I just look up to police officers. If she looked up to law enforcement, she wouldn't be like a lot of these people that have nothing but contempt for authority. Because they themselves don't think that they should be under authority by anybody. Oh, 1 minute they want to suck the tit of the government and get benefits, and the next minute they want to lie and corrupt and commit fraud and grand theft and all this other stuff. Hello, Eric. She is just starved for conversation, says Fancy Nancy. Well, she's been in Pocatello Women's Prison for a while. What, since April or something like that? I don't remember when she got sentenced and sent off to Pocatello, y'all. My brain's not working. But she's been around women all this time. And do y'all know how Lori is? The only women she wanted to be around were the women that would suck her ass, basically. Not literally, but she didn't want to be around a woman who, was going to stand up for herself or anything like that. And I think that Audrey Baratario, her testimony there in Lori's trial, that Lori came back down the stairs and said, I could kill you or whatever, or chop you up and put you in a garbage bag or whatever. I don't think that's at all what was said. I think Audrey saw the forest through the trees of what she herself was involved in and knew the shit had already hit the fan, and the only way that she could back out of it was to leave. And when the state, their radar got a hold of her, she had a story ready. That's what I think. I have nothing but contempt for these state's witnesses that were involved with Lori and Chad. Nothing but contempt for them. And John Pryor's going to do his damn best. Oh, make no mistake. He's gonna give them hell. Boho May says Lori has some traits of Jodi Arias. Well, I'd have to really think about that. And you're probably right. I'm sure you could list out a few things. First and foremost, a freaking murderer. But Lori would never hurt Chad. But Lori, she turned on Charles. So there you see that similarity. She threw Charles away because number one, she wanted the money. And number two, she didn't want to go through a divorce. She didn't want to go through a divorce. She didn't want a settlement there. And I just think that she wanted to get rid of everything and make it fresh with Chad. And that includes getting rid of her own children so that she wouldn't have to look at her past. I mean, if you're going to be a goddess, right? How can you be a goddess if you don't remake yourself and forget all the stuff, all the ex-husbands, the children, what sadly she thought was baggage, which were really people that loved and cared about her and would have done anything for her. It's sad. It really is. Not for her. She don't deserve to be breathing, y'all. She should have gotten the death penalty. She's a serial killer, y'all. She is the most notorious serial killer that I could think of. And I'm thinking about, what is that? That woman in Florida, Wanderess or whatever her name was. And what was her name, y'all? You know what? She was a prostitute. She killed all those men down that Florida corridor there. What was her name? And her girlfriend turned her in. Begin with a W. Well, anyway, Lori is worse than that. I mean, think about this Robin Rowe. She was awful and deserved the death penalty. Lori deserves it. Arlene Warnos. There you go. Thank you, Paisley Dreams. Y'all, Lori Daybell will go down in history as the most ruthless serial killer woman there ever was, in my opinion. Narcissists never admit they are wrong. Lori will never plead guilty in Arizona. Well, Maria P., I'm glad you brought that up because you're probably right. She's going to see it through. And really stop and think about this, y'all. Remember in Idaho, every time Lori would come out the door, you'd see a brief snippet of her, but for the most part, Idaho, they kept her where you wouldn't have to. Hell, they just released, a minute, 58-second vid of her coming out of the vehicle, going into the jail, her in the little scanner. Well, did she worry one bit? They're going to see. They're going to see. I'm in the scanner here. I got, like an airport scanner. They're going to see I'm a translated being. Give me a break. They're putting on a show now, y'all. I know the facts and the trial and the adjudication of that case will be on the level. But Arizona obviously is going to get something out of this. What's scary to me, y'all, is that she actually believes that there was no murder at all. She has disassociated herself so much, y'all, and it can't be all mental illness. There are people that don't have severe mental illness that disassociate every day. And she has already put in her own, she has made sure that's all she's going to think, that her children weren't murdered. Even though she was made to sit in that court trial and see the pictures that she did not want to see. She doesn't believe her children were murdered. And if the state says that Chad and Lori, the core theory, and Alex Cox they wanted to endorse the spouse religious beliefs for the purpose of murder, and the charges show conspiracy to commit murder, and in Chad, murder of Tammy and stuff like that. Wonder if Chad thinks of what he did to his wife or what happened to the children. Wonder if he thinks that they were not murdered. Give me a break. She knows everyone's eyes are on her. She loves being in the spotlight. Well, Janelle Murphy, she looked like shit. Some people did leave comments yesterday saying she looked better than she did before. That's an opinion. I don't think she looks good at all. And when she walked down through there, sashaying like she did, I could not help but think about how Melanie Pulaski walks. And the kind of the body frame, they were so much alike. Melanie Pulaski and Lori. I mean, really, y'all. It's spooky. It's spooky. The son that was involved in finding Tammy, I wonder what he thinks now, says Paisley Dreams. Well, it's Garth and the other children. They already went on that Dateline or whatever it was to say if Lori would have, Emma says if Lori would have never come along, this would have never happened. They were setting up their strategy long ago. John Pryor was good about not showing his hand, but he could not help but show his hand when he filed those motions and also argued in the motion hearing. It is quite interesting, y'all. As I said in my silly skit, that on one hand, John Pryor wants to say this was all Lori, and on the other hand, his client doesn't need the death penalty because Lori doesn't get the death penalty. In essence, take the death penalty off, save my client's life. So it's just weird. But, he has a right to do what he's doing. Marilyn Pastor says her attitude was as though she had done nothing wrong. No one understands her. She ain't right for sure. And again, Marilyn Pastor, the problem is I don't know about y'all. I can't wrap my head around what these people have up. I really, y'all think I'm just saying that to be mean about Lori? Y'all, I believe in demon possession. It's in Holy Scripture. I think she's demon possessed. I believe the demon is in the corner right now and can't get out. In other words, the demon is in her and is happy happy, happy, happy to continue to possess her until she dies. I believe it. You want to have a murderous heart, Lolo? You can live with the demon of it. The spirit of murder. It's scary. It's disgusting, but it's true. I know that is my opinion. I can't sit here and say, y'all, here it is. Well, I'll tell you what. If I got over here and got my Holy Bible and educated, I'm sure some of y'all are more educated than me, but if I got out here and read everything in there about demon possession, y'all, make no mistake. Nobody does these things. It'd be one thing if Lori and Chad just gave the kids a bunch of eggs and made them go to sleep and then buried them. You know, a poison or something, and then buried them. No, they had to chop them up and desecrate them, suffocate them slowly. Oh, it was awful. It was awful. It's the worst kind of murder murder is murder. It's all bad no matter how it's done. But to do that to those children, it's disgusting. And knowing in my heart of hearts, y'all, I know this, that they actually got a thrill out of it. Oh, but the fun is over. The freaking role-playing shit is over. It's been over. DD Sunshine says what Ruby Frank did to her children for years is horrific torture. Lori kept her hands clean and washed Alex and Chad. DD Sunshine, that could very well be true. But for anybody to say, even before Lori went to trial, that she didn't know exactly how things were done, I guarantee you, she knew. She knew. She asked Chad on a text message, do y'all have a plan? Not, hey, Chad, I've got a plan. I'm going to share it with you. This is what me and Alex has decided. We need you to help us out, Chad. No. Right, Susan. But when you say Chad spoke about his wife dying before the hussy, it's kind of dawned on me after all these years that perhaps these people in the Mormon Church and the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints, maybe, perhaps, I believe it, they talk about this stuff. You know, they talk about second segments of their life and things of that sort. This whole thing that they don't believe in multiple probations and stuff, well, what do you think now? What do you think now? I mean, if they're supposed to be lowercase, well, they say gods, I say lowercase g gods, which are idols, which is idolatry, be honest with you. There is only one God. Only one. Only one God. There's only one. And if they want to take this whole thing in Holy Scripture where we are going to be joint heirs with Jesus and twist that around to say we're going to be as good as Jesus and God and the Holy Spirit, more power to them. But I'm going to tell you right now, I'm going to be on my face. I'm going to be on my face. I'm going to be throwing ashes on myself. I'm probably going to, if Jesus came down right here in my living room right now, I would die instantly. Okay? Just to look upon him. To look upon his holiness, knowing how I am a sinner, saved by grace. Tina Reddington is having homemade cookies and a huge mug of coffee for breakfast. Well, Tina, I haven't had breakfast yet, but I'm considering frying me up a couple of strips of good, thick bacon. I'm going to have me 2 eggs over medium. I'm going to have me some toast with thick butter on it. And I might throw a little salsa on my eggs, or I might just put a little cheese, a little dash of onion there. Who knows? But the cookie and the coffee sounds great. So I hope none of the Rays are disappointed that I am not, y'all. I'm not going to be covering the Arizona stuff. I will be having coffee with KJ. If y'all want to talk about it, y'all are welcome to talk about it with me. And yes, I will keep up with it because I care about the victims' family members. But my focus is going to be on Cresha. That's where I'm going to be. And obviously, Chad's trial is not far away. There'll be some more pre-trial things that are going on. But y'all, I said when we had that burning of the effigy, I said, I was clear. I was through with the hussy. And the only reason I brought up that news yesterday is because it just came out of the blue. I want to thank Sam Willow for letting me know because nobody else did. And it just floored me. It floored me that it happened so quickly because it was my understanding that her appeal there, the first one, they were going to have to get through that before they could extradite her. I'll post the article on the community wall. That's what my understanding was. I was wrong. That's okay. I've been wrong a million times. And Gibson says, I understand. I'm so over Lori. And I am, and that's why I'm not covering it. But I do want to make it clear to y'all that there is nothing more important in terms of justice through understanding of this channel that we keep Charles Vallow's family in our thoughts and prayers, and most importantly, to be supportive of Cresha on difficult research during this time with her. Just because I'm through, I mean, y'all, what more can I say about the hussy? She is, y'all, I have said everything that I can possibly really know that I feel about this damn whore, okay? She's toast. This is just, it's unfortunate, really, because that should have been front and center from the get-go. Before this whole, I mean, I understand the children in Tammy, y'all, but Charles Vallow, it was him that alerted these law enforcement agencies. It was Kay and Larry and others, Brandon Boudreaux and others, that if it wouldn't have been for Charles, it's unfortunate, and I am very cynical that they did not charge Chad Daybell with conspiracy to commit murder of Charles. I mean, he can make statements on text messages like when Lori says, I didn't get the money. He says, well, a bullet in his chest or whatever. He can say that. He can call the funeral home. He can do all those things. And let's just be clear. If John Pryor wants to say Lori called the shots, it was Lori's idea, are we saying, is he saying, excuse me, is he saying that Lori said, Chad, I need you to call the funeral home. You need to call the funeral home for me, Chad. And the fact that Chad was intricately through all of this. That's the main reason, in my view, in terms of conspiracy to murder, that the jurors in Lori's trial, they saw how knee-deep they all were just intertwined. Does anybody want to believe that Lori convinced Chad when she was in Arizona, Chad, my brother, he had to kill Charles because after all this time, Chad, that we've been screwing around, I've been telling you how bad Charles was. And we've got evidence, Chad, that you told me that he was Hiplos and all. I think that was Zulema. But Chad was in the know. And so, Chad, I'm going to go now to Idaho because you tell me that your wife is going to die. Y'all, no matter how you look at it, Chad, it's going to incense a jury with Chad Daybell. Rusted Knight says this is Lori's last hurrah, then fade away into oblivion. Well, I'm probably going to have to ask God to forgive me for saying this, but I'll tell you what. it might just be her last hurrah and she'll go back to Pocatello. But I would like to see news that a woman's being carried out of Pocatello Women's Prison who got the shank. Or that she committed suicide. Y'all, I know it's bad. I shouldn't say it. But it just makes me so angry. And I know that's my flesh talking. I should be praying for these evil people. I pray for everyone that cannot see the true love of God. I do. But y'all, in the Holy Scripture, it talks about people that God let them because they didn't want to look. They didn't want to look to God. He allowed them to become debased-minded. Well, how much more debased-mindedness do you have to do to murder beautiful, innocent children? A woman like Tammy, a guy like Charles, and as one of you point out, even Joe Ryan. They say she likes the Idaho prison, that it has a beautiful view. Well, Donna Nana, maybe that's true. But I guarantee you one thing, it ain't no damn view of no Hawaiian beach. And I'll tell you something else, the only view she's going to get in the Idaho Pocatello Women's Prison there is a woman spreading eagle and saying, "Give it up, Lori. Let's carpet munch." I said it, I'll say it. Chad's trial is going to be different. He was in the same room when his wife was murdered. Well, Kathy Barella, don't you, I'm sure you know this, that Chad and Lori want to put this all off on Alex. Oh, Chad, he was at home that night, and Alex was down at the church, but somehow during the night, Chad must have been asleep when Alex came in and asphyxiated Tammy. Give me a break. Give me a break. Oh, and they're talking to each other during this time. And not to mention the actual slam dunk proof of Chad and Alex during the October 9th thing trying to take Tammy out where Alex didn't get it done. Kathy Barella, I believe that there are going to be different aspects. Remember when we were learning in Lori's trial things, like this whole thing about Chad and Lori's texting, and Chad says, "I'm going to cause them pain," and all this and that. And Lori saying, is JJ at zero yet? And things. We didn't know any of that. And it pissed me off so bad, y'all. I mean, because I was reading the tweets as Nate was going on, and it just absolutely, it devastated me. It pissed me off so bad. And I thank God I ain't got to go and do the tweet thing again. I'm glad there's going to be courtroom cameras where people can see this. If it is anything like Lori's sentencing, y'all, I guess I don't need to look a gift horse in the mouth, but it's not going to be good. They should be able to zoom in and get the witnesses on the stand. They sure as heck do. I want to see Melanie Gibb and Zulema and David Warwick and Audrey Bartario. I want to see their lioness looks on their faces. They sit there and lie to the jury about their involvement. The others. That's what they are. They're the others that got out of this shit by the skin of their teeth. They turned on their king and queen, don't you know? Well, they worshiped their king and queen and turned around and and outed them. Shows you exactly how evil and diabolical the whole group was. Olive says, yeah, we will see their body language says a lot more than audio, right? Austin Sassy Saw says, prosecutors going to prove the bullshit with all the thousands of text data, messages between all three, but from Mastermind Chad's perspective. Well, there you go. Judge Boyce did say at that motion hearing, he told John Pryor, if whatever you're saying, John Pryor, that you say they shouldn't do, we'll deal with that during trial. Well, now the state's got a job. They've got to be able to tread in that core theory. That core theory. And wouldn't it be interesting if John Pryor asked one of these cult members, who are the others that this indictment, Chad, Lori, Alex, and others, murdered these children and Tammy? Who are they, Zulema? Who are they? David Warwick or Audrey Bartario. Her mugshot from yesterday speaks volumes, KJ. Look at the eyes. Norma, she has beady ass eyes. They look possessed with a demon. Y'all, I'm telling you. That's my view. It's not me just trying to be hateful or say something bad about the hussy. Because y'all know how I feel about her. I don't have to do that. I've already made myself clear. But her eyes like that. The eyes are the mirror to the soul, y'all. Let me say it again. The eyes are the mirror to the soul. And what I see, I don't see mental illness or, mentally disassociating to that degree. I see a freaking demon in there. That's what I see. Some people don't believe in demon possession. I do. She is demon possessed the way she walks. Some people want to write that off and say, oh, KJ, the way she walks and the way she acts when she turns her head and all this and that, that's just the medication she's taking. Well, all I got to say is that might be so in your view, but in my view, she is demon possessed. That's what I say. Cindy Arnold says, I'm thinking there is going to be more evidence as far as text messages in Chad's trial. I hope there is, because like I said, when I was floored about some of the things we didn't know about that we found out in Lori's trial, there's got to be. There absolutely, it can't just be what we saw at Lori's trial and that's it. There's got to be more that points to Chad's guilt of Tammy. And, if Lori can be convicted of conspiracy to commit murder on Tammy, which the jury believes she had been murdered, they got through that hurdle of that, the state did, then surely they can see that Chad conspired to murder the children. It's just as simple as that, really. I believe Lori must complete Idaho's sentence before serving Arizona's sentence, but trial will take place in Arizona, right? Yes, Liza Joe. What's going to happen is her newly appointed, this woman gets all these damn attorneys. She gets an appeals attorney. She got 2 attorneys in her trial. Now she gets more attorneys. Yeah, I know that's the justice system. It sucks. But unless her new attorneys, whoever they may be, and they're probably going to end up being characters as well, like Archie. Surely they're going to be like, Lori, you need to take a plea deal. And even though many people want to see a trial so that Lori can look and see all that she did to Charles Vallow, maybe they'll have the trial. Maybe Arizona, now that they've gotten their head out their ass and got her extradited back, maybe all that will unfold and we'll find out more than just what we do know. Yes, Maria P., exactly. Lori and Chad have cost taxpayers millions. They're not worth it. I understand the judicial system and there shouldn't be no pitchforks and torches. But if OKJ had my way, I'd take them both behind the barn and I'd come back out by myself. Or, I wouldn't even take them behind the barn because I love barns. I'd take them down an old road, a dead-end road somewhere out in the rural where you can't hear nothing. And I'd come walking back out. I shouldn't say that, okay? Because OKJ's not. I'm just definitely not one of these people that want to take a life, even if they deserve it. But I am for capital punishment. I do believe in respecting authority in the Holy Scripture. And if the authorities say that your ass can go in front of a firing squad or get the lethal injection, if these people do not understand before they make these decisions to murder innocent life that they could have, that's a possibility. Paisley Dream says, yeah, a nice old logging road. Yeah, Ann Gibson, I think that Lori's she's probably not going to take a plea. As y'all have said, she likes the limelight. She could have taken a plea, don't you think? Before going to trial this time around. She didn't. How will Pryor object when the raccoon is buried in the pet cemetery and the Googling of the wind direction Bonnie? He can't object. That's called circumstantial evidence. I mean, there's direct evidence in all the pictures when they were digging up the pet cemetery. Y'all do understand. John Pryor's going to try to plant that little seed of doubt that there were more than one pet cemetery and that the state didn't try this other area. You can see that at Chad's preliminary hearing. So that's what he's going to say. He's going to say when Chad said, I buried a raccoon and burned limb debris, he's going to say he did do that. That's what he texted to Tammy. It was just in another part of the property there that the law enforcement didn't check. Well, if John Pryor's so damn sure of his clients saying, no, there was another pet cemetery, then don't you think John Pryor would have went over there, got some people to go over there, get his experts over there to dig up the raccoon, huh? He could have done that. He has a right to do that. Rusted Knight says that stupid raccoon defense, right? Donna said, oh my gosh, who cares about a raccoon? A raccoon being dead really proves nothing. And Paisley Dream says, in another mere coincidence, he tried to put cement slab over the pet cemetery. Good point, Paisley Dreams. It's the limb debris reference that chills me, says Olive Eatley. Yeah, I mean, I don't see in any of those aerial photos any other place than that fire pit where they found Tylee's little chain, her little necklace chain thing, and pieces of her, basically. Hello, Jennifer Esslinger. Cindy Bullock. Not only did that raccoon give us a timeline, how is John Pryor going to say, well, we know Alex was there, and within 10 to 12 minutes, was it? Chad's doing that text? Chad didn't know Alex was over there? What? I mean, the bottom line is Chad was helping Alex. It's as simple as that. This whole idea that somehow John Pryor can lay that seed of doubt that it was Chad because it could have been Lori and Alex, and specifically Alex with the evidence that's there, is that Chad and Alex were joined at the hip most of the time. And really, if you think about it, in Lori's trial, how much did Archie and Thomas try to say it was Alex? They didn't do shit. They gave her the minimum required defense. Could you all imagine if some damn asshole had given Lori these high-powered attorneys? This would have been, it would have been awful, really. But it wouldn't have got her out of trouble, but it would have taken longer. There would have been more disgusting seeds of doubt planted. And with those seeds of doubt that a defense team tries to plant, it just enrages people and it hurts victims' family members. I mean, I am shocked, really, that in Lori's trial that the victims weren't attacked. Isn't that how that goes, y'all? Don't victims usually get attacked in the trial itself? Well, they couldn't attack Tammy. They couldn't attack the children. They were innocent. They had no skeletons in the closet. But make no mistake, there are plenty of empirically factual truths about that damn asshole, Chad Daybell. Pure and simple. And if anybody wants to attack Charles Vallow and Lori's trial in Arizona, go for it. Let the defense go for it. Because I guarantee you, no matter what they pull out their ass, Charles Vallow was a man who loved his wife, saw she was mentally unstable. They got body cam. They got the whole 9 yards. He acted reasonably during all of this. Some people say, well, KJ, he should have just said, the hell with you, hussy. Go on. He loved her, y'all. He loved her. That's what a real man does. Through thick and thin. He loved her. He wanted her in his life, and he knew she had problems. She was unstable, and he was wanting to get her help. I mean, if I was acting, y'all, I know I get a little crazy. But let's just, for sake of argument, I got unstable, right? Really, in reality. I know for a fact my husband would do everything in his power. He wouldn't turn his back on me. Even if I attacked him, even if I did anything, I know my husband. He loves me and he knows who I am. And perhaps Charles knew Lori the years before because they'd been married a long time, y'all. And he always had that view of her in his heart and mind. It's a lot like when you find out someone's lied to you. Everything before that, you question it. But Charles Vallow was a real man. He didn't question those feelings he knew that she had given to him and him to her. I'm sure, y'all. I'm sure at one time the hussy really believed she loved Charles. I don't think Charles Vallow would have loved someone who didn't love him back. And I think he was smart enough to know when someone loves him. It's just, in my view, she started to lose it mentally. And then she was going through her midlife crisis, as many people do. And she just knew that time was ticking, and she just wasn't happy. It wouldn't have mattered. Didn't matter if Charles could have given her stardom and a billionaire's life. She wanted something different, and Chad Daybell sucked Lori in just as much as Lori sucked Chad in. No one is the mastermind. They both equally were the mastermind, in my opinion. Alex wasn't on Chad's property to dig that big hole where they put JJ, so Chad dug that hole before Alex came with JJ's body. Correct, Maria P. You say that very correctly. You're right. There's no way in 17 minutes Alex Cox could have had the paneling, the rocks, you had to cut the root, the whole 9 yards. Chad Daybell knew exactly. He was the grave digger. He was the creepy ass sling blade. Give me some taters. Give me some taters. I want some of them French fried potatoes. Except he was a bad one. This other sling blade dude, he was a good guy who lost it. Chad Daybell's not a good guy who lost it. Chad Daybell enjoyed everything he was doing. Carrie Ann says, I disappeared to take the kiddos to school, but I am back now, super far behind now because the roads are slick and snowy. Well, Carrie Ann, don't you ever be in a rush. People make fun of old KJ and people in Tennessee because every time it's less than an inch on the ground, we close the schools. But what people don't realize is our atmosphere here in Tennessee, it turns to black ice. And I would ask anyone up north who has to drive in 4 foot of snow to come down here and drive one 20-foot patch of a road down here. You won't make it. Idea Pants, I want to hear you mock Chad and his gherkin in real time with his trial. Well, Idea Pants, I guarantee you, the Rays, they absolutely, they get me in this feeling of being theatrical. Y'all know I love these little skits. Y'all know I enjoy them. But I want to make it clear to y'all that I am not, absolutely not, making fun of this devastating thing. What I am trying to do is, first of all, I'm incensed with these damn assholes. These people that do this stuff. This is my way of dealing with it. So if people don't know by now that I am not making fun of these tragedies, I'm not. I'm making fun of the people that damn did it. Because I sure as hell don't get to sit in a room and beat their damn ass. I don't get to do that. And that's what I want to do. And it's unfortunate that I feel that way. So what do? I put on a fake dick and get my husband to sit down so that we can make people smile. Because there's nothing to smile about when it comes to taking children's lives, Tammy's life, Charles's life, any life, through murder, evil, diabolical conspiracy. Right. Idea pants. That's what I mean. It's my preferred way to deal with anger is to be sarcastic. Well, maybe I should have said it that way instead of going off the deep end, but y'all know how I am. So, I mean, honestly, y'all, I have to check myself. I truly, in my heart of hearts, I love these victims' family members. I didn't know. I mean, I've met Kay and Larry and Gresha and Jason and their family and all that. But even if I hadn't, just going on difficult research and hearing Gresha speak and spending time with her and the fact that she is herself, it's refreshing. It's refreshing. And you do find out you do find out about people. And Charles Vallow's family, JJ Tiley's family, in terms of JJ's side of the family, because I have nothing good. I'm sorry, I have nothing good to say about Janice or Barry or Adam or Summer or Melanie Pawlowski. I don't have nothing good to say. I can keep myself from saying bad things about people that were not involved intimately in this cult, even though I don't know what Summer, I mean, I don't know. I mean, when I hear her phone call to Lori, it does shift things for me a little bit. There was no hint that Summer knew anything. And I'm not saying that Lori's family knew anything. But I'll tell you one thing right now. Adam Cox and his uncle there creep me out. They just do. They just creep me out. Well, Maria P., I don't know about that, but when Gresha put that jacket on me, you say Charles gave me a hug. I'll tell you what, when Gresha gave me a hug, when Larry and Kay opened up their hearts to Wayne and I to sit in the backyard of their beautiful home, that in and of itself was an embrace of love. I see what you're saying, and I think that's so beautiful that you would say it that way. Charles has got a beautiful family that will always honor him. And I'm just so proud of how they have all handled themselves throughout. Not that, I mean, who the hell am I, right? Nobody. But what I'm saying is if you want an opinion, I got to see there are families out here that are loving, caring, giving families. And it blows me away how strong a family can be. I don't know what goes on when Gresha is not on her live stream or shooting vids or whatever, what goes on in her day-to-day life, or whether or not Kay or Larry has a bad day and may break down and cry. I'll tell you what, it doesn't matter, because that shows the love in their heart. The devastation of trauma and all that stuff. My prayers are constantly with them. Cindy Bullock says, poor Kobe. I hope he's doing well. I don't know if Kobe's gotten back with his wife. You know, I don't know. I really just, at this point right now here, I don't really want to talk about Kobe because there's things that don't sit right with me, but I understand how he was raised. So I give him a pass. I'll just say that. I don't think his wife would have had him arrested for nothing. But then again, these issues happen all over the world with domestic violence and all this and that. So I feel for him. I feel for the fact that his mother's a piece of shit. Olive says, I'm on the fence with Kobe. Sorry. Jennifer Sukup says, big hugs to anyone who needs them. Well, thank you, Jennifer. I need a hug. Have a great day, NF Mom. KJ, in a world of phony people, you're refreshing, you're real, you make us laugh. Otherwise, we would not be able to cope with this horrific crime. So thank you, Philly. You're so sweet. And I want to say this to you, Philly. You have said many comments that have been comforting to me and as well as everybody else on here. Y'all been so good to me. Through my ups and downs, whatever I'm talking about. Y'all been there for me, and I appreciate that. Let's continue to seek justice through understanding in the Chad Daybell trial that's going to be coming up. Let's also be there for Cresha during the Hussey's Arizona deal, okay? Because Charles deserves the support. We all love Charles. There's no doubt in my mind that we all love him and look up to him. We definitely look up to the victims' family members. I can say that on here. Unless somebody's come in that don't have an opinion. The bottom line is we're all going to be there for them. And with that said, I love you all. I hope you have a great weekend. Sam Willow, once again, thank you for alerting me of that. I wasn't, I was doing what I was doing in my life. I've got shit going on. And for you to do that, to take the time to tell me, I appreciate it. Y'all, I'll try to keep tabs on other issues. We'll continue to do what we do. And I love you. And keep on looking.